All right, so in this breakdown, I'll be talking about how Bud Crawford should use the LGuard against Canelo Alvarez, why that is the best defense and the best approach strategically that he should take against Canelo. There's a lot of different things about the LGuard and why it's the perfect defense and really offense as well, because you're going to be punching from that position, but why it's the perfect strategy for Canelo Alvarez. Now, the main level that he wants to fight Canelo at, of course, he's not going to do it the entire time, but at least half of the fight, he should fight Canelo on the inside, and he should utilize the LGuard. And throughout this breakdown, I will be explaining why, piece by piece, point by point, different instances when Bud uses the LGuard and why Canelo is susceptible against the LGuard and why that's the best defense for Bud Crawford, especially at this advanced age. So let's get into it. All right, so first off, what is the LGuard? The LGuard is pretty much a stiff version of the shoulder roll. You're holding your rear hand up, you're holding the phone with your rear hand, and you're putting your lead hand in the shape of an L, pretty much. So your forearm is covering your midsection, right? And you're hiding behind the shoulder. So you're almost in the shoulder roll position, except with the LGuard, you're not trying to roll every last shot. You'll just catch them right on the arm or catch it right on the rear hand glove, but you're not actually trying to roll your body and completely dodge a punch or roll and set up for the counter like a Floyd Mayweather. So the LGuard protects you, it protects certain spots, and it allows you to not be so focused on reflexes. You know what I mean? And you're still at home, you're still right in front of the opponent to counter or to catch and counter. Terrence Crawford utilized the LGuard to perfection against David Avanesyan. And that was one of his best knockouts in his career. He knocked that man cold out. But against Avanesyan, he used the LGuard on the inside when he decided to really, pick up the pace and go for that stoppage. Now, in this freeze frame right here, you see that he could smother Canelo's shots. And Canelo, if you look at Avanesyan, Canelo, when he fights on the inside, Canelo actually doesn't really have a good inside game. What he does is he has great heart, great power, reflexes, but he just puts his hands up and he squares his shoulders up like Triple G, like Tank on the inside, Tank Davis. So that's really not a good style. Anytime your shoulders are square, you're open to be hit. But Canelo's okay with being hit because he's pretty much going to hit harder than the opponent. Tank has the same approach. Triple G has the same approach. So that style where you just go glove to glove, square shoulders, why is that not going to beat the LGuard? Or why isn't that going to be a good style against the LGuard? The reason why is rather simple. It's because with the LGuard, you're bladed, you're hiding behind your shoulder. As you can see, Terrence Crawford, he was able to catch with his rear hand and hide behind his shoulder. He didn't really have to roll the shot that Avanesyan threw. When you're doing what Canelo does or what Tank does or what Triple G and, other fighters where they just square up and just bang on the inside, you're a wide open target. Your shoulders are square. You're not hiding behind anything. The only thing you're hiding behind is a basic guard. And people could punch through the guard. They could punch around the guard. In fact, later in this breakdown, I'm going to show you Terrence Crawford actually doing what Canelo likes to do, squaring his shoulders up and putting his hands up in order to fight on the inside. And guess what happens? He gets uppercut. Dude splits his guard right up the middle, Mean Machine. So the LGuard is going to give him a huge advantage against Canelo. When Canelo's on the inside, his main defense is to pull back and counter, or to dip to the side and counter whilst having his hands up. So it's pretty much reflexes. Same shit that we see from Tank. That's what Tank was doing in the Roach fight. Put his hands up, get hit a little bit, and then try to counter him or time him, slip him at the right time, and hit him with a bomb. That's not going to work against the LGuard. The LGuard is dominant. It's already in a defensive position. Bud will be able to see everything Canelo's going to throw, be able to absorb it in a safe way where he's not giving up his body, and be able to catch and counter and to smother Canelo. While Canelo being squared up, he's going to be getting hit with a lot of the short shots that Errol Spence was getting hit with. But let's continue with this breakdown. Now, when you're using the LGuard and you're bladed and you're as crafty as Terrence Crawford, look where Terrence has his rear hand. And sometimes he does it with his lead hand as well. But he'll manipulate his opponent with his rear hand or his lead hand. he'll grab them, he'll hold them, grab their wrists, put pressure on their shoulder, get them off balance, make sure that they just off balance enough to where as though they missed a shot, or as though their feet aren't set so they can't throw a hard shot. Lead hand holding their hand so they can't use that hand. These are little things that Terrence Crawford has done, and he showed it in the Errol Spence fight. And these are things that he can do to Canelo, and nobody has ever attacked Canelo in that way from no LGuard. Canelo saw flashes of the LGuard with the shoulder roll because those are kind of like cousins, those defenses, they're related. But nobody has ever pressed Canelo with the LGuard and started to really touch him in that way, where they're using their rear hand to manipulate his shoulder, using their lead hand to grab his hand while smothering his shots. And then they could exit. Terrence still has a fleetness of foot where he could step back or step to the side while having his rear hand up, hiding behind his shoulder. If Canelo tries to just, bum rush him or come forward with a bunch of quick combinations, Terrence could exit exchange range whenever he wants behind the elbow. And once again, here's just Bud Crawford using his rear hand to grab Errol's lead hand, and he'll use his lead hand as well. This is a old boxing trick, holding and hitting per se is really illegal, but the greats like Pernell Whitaker has always used these roughhouse tactics on the inside to gain the advantage. The guys like Roberto Duran has used these roughhouse manipulative tactics to get the advantage on the inside. These are things that Canelo hasn't really seen nobody do. I've never seen nobody attack Canelo in that way. And I think it would be the perfect strategy for a Bud Crawford who's 38 years old. You really don't want to move too much. You don't have the reflexes of Floyd Mayweather to just sit there at mid-range and shoulder roll every damn thing, looking like you the Flash and shit like that. So the LGuard, and you manipulating Canelo's body on the inside, which is going to be easy because Canelo's going to be what? He's going to be squared up on the inside. I think that's the perfect approach. But let's continue. Now, one might ask, why does Bud have to use the LGuard? Why can't he just use the Philly